Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Hello and good evening. It's a Tuesday, the 18th of November 2025, and you are watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. Here are the stories making the headlines tonight. President Emmerson Mnangagwa this evening handed over a pangolin to the Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority. The animal has been presented to him by a farmer who stumbled on it at his farm in the Midlands province. Stay tuned for details on that story here on Newsplus. We look at efforts by government to improve the ease of doing business, with authorities announcing a downward review of levies and license fees in the energy sector. Cabinet also approved a new agriculture roadmap, which is expected to boost output and guarantee food security. And later on in sport, Zifa reverses PSL club's decision to suspend relegation. We have details on that later on. Our top story this evening. President Emmerson Mnangagwa this evening handed over a pangolin he received from a Gweru farmer to the Zimbabwe Parks and Wildlife Management Authority. The pangolin, a creature long regarded in the African culture as a symbol of kingship, luck and good fortune, was discovered in the Midlands province by an elderly farmer. Now, the farmer handed the animal to his son, Energy Ncube, who then took steps to ensure it was safely delivered to authorities. Ncube says bringing the pangolin to the president felt like the right thing to do.
Ndakafonerwa nezuro around 10 o'clock am makuseni nababongo maprasi vakati mwana uri kupimhanya kumba kune zvandowana kunoku pandakamhanya pamba ndakasvika ndikaona vane ihaka unoziva here chinhu ichi ndikati ipangolin ihaka zvikanzi toita sei nacho tikati anu hatibatei vadhara saka tikabata Minister of State for Midlands Province Comrade Owen Muda tikabva tavaratidza vakati endai kuna chef farm vari paGolden Mile vokuudza zvinofambiswa seno ndo vakamboshanda kuparks. Tikasvika pana chef farm tikaona vari busy, saka ndakaona pane mota yakafanana neya Deputy Minister Comrade Kuda, ndopa ndafonera Comrade Kuda tikati amuri kupi, pane zvinhu zvatinazvo panapa zvika unichi, tikati handine haka pangolin zvika ita video call toona kuti ndiyo iri kuti haisi, ndopa takaita video call kana kuti ndiyo zvika ndiyo chichengetai mozouya nayo mangwana posi takadza tikati isu hatina chatiri kuziva chekuita nacho posi toziva kuti haka kana ichinge yawanikwa ndeya mambo, tikatoa tiende nayo kuna mambo tizoisvisa kuna mambo kuti ndo mhuka yenyu yatawana munyika menyu, that's why tawana nayo kuno kunasi ku State House.
Now, National Parks officials say they will now conduct a full medical examination to assess the pangolin's condition. The pangolin will remain under expert care before being reintroduced back into the wild.
Dzashuma muZimbabwe, that's why dzichichengetedzwa. Panapa tauya tadedzwa na chef kuti tizoitora yabva kukwekwe, saka taigamuchidzwa taiona iri mhenyu. Iyi mhuka iyi tichaitora tonoisa kurehab kwainogara madhezi achionekwa kuti hapana here payakakwara, handiti yaonekwa kuti hapana here payakakwara ndo painozotorwa yakuendeswa musango.
Meanwhile, government has approved the review of licenses, permits and levies in the energy sector to reduce the cost of doing business and enhance the growth of the economy. The approval is in line with the cabinet decision of the 29th of July, which approved the implementation of a raft of business reforms in 12 sectors of the economy. Now, speaking during the post-cabinet briefing, Information Minister Dr. Jenfan Muswere said the review will help ease the way of doing business and increase competitiveness.
The review of licenses, permits, levies and fees in the energy sector followed extensive whole of government and societal approach. Consultations which were attended by ministries, departments, and agencies, and the energy sector players. The energy subsectors, licenses, permits, levies, and fees have been reviewed as follows: electricity generation, transmission, distribution, and secondary distribution in terms of the licensing framework, petroleum importation, wholesale and retail licensing framework, the liquefied petroleum gas importation, wholesale and retail licensing framework. Among the reviewed licenses, license fees and permits, ZERA license application fee has been reduced from United States dollars $2,500 to United States dollars $2,000, whilst the ZERA solar generation license of 2,875 United States dollars has been removed completely. The ZERA petroleum import license of United States dollars 30,000 has been reduced by 50%. The fuel retailing license in rural areas has been reduced from United States dollars 200 to United States dollars 150, whilst the LPG retail license will be reduced by 50% from the United States dollars $230. That is the current fee structure. Furthermore, it is noted that the investment in the energy sector has been largely being driven by government, and this model had become unsustainable given the limited fiscal space and access to external resources.
Meanwhile, still at Cabinet, government has also approved the National Development Strategy 2, 2026 to 2030, which is intended to guide the national development trajectory of Zimbabwe towards the attainment of Vision 2030. Responding to questions, Finance and Economic Development Minister Professor Mthuli Ncube said the second five-year development plan, NDS2, seeks to consolidate the achievements recorded under NDS1 and accelerate the transformation process of attaining Vision 2030.
For each pillar, each of the 10 pillars, we have the outcomes clearly spelled out in terms of what we expect, but also the sub-strategies for each pillar that we'll implement, that we'll make use of to achieve and attain those outcomes or objectives. We have a very robust results measurement framework, just like in NDS1, which will follow quite religiously and work with Zimstat to develop the database to be able to track these various pillars and progress on them quite on a quarterly basis.
We are still on the post-cabinet media briefing. The Agriculture, Food Systems and Rural Transformation Strategy 2, running from 2026 to 2030, has been approved. Information Minister Dr. Jen van Moeswede said the roadmap will build on the success of agriculture, food systems and rural transformation.
To achieve the envisioned National Development Strategy 2, targets will ensure wider socio-economic impact. The Agriculture, Food Systems and Rural Transformation Strategy 2 is structured around 10 pillars, namely enabling policy, regulatory and coordination environment, sustainable production and productivity, research, innovation, technology and modernization, climate adaptation, mitigation and resilience building, rural industrialization and rural development.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development says that its 2026 to 2030 strategic plan will strengthen national food security and accelerate agricultural and rural transformation. Agriculture Minister Dr. Anxious Masuka and Permanent Secretary Professor Obed Chiri outlined the ministry's renewed vision in Layo, aligning it with NDS2 and national efforts to ensure that every Zimbabwean household can access 3 meals a day and that the agriculture sector is catapulted to a $15 billion industry.
A decisive shift is underway in Zimbabwe's agricultural sector as the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development maps out its plans for the next 5 years. Speaking during the ministry's strategic planning workshop in Bulawayo, Minister Dr. Anxious Masuka said the new 2026 to 2030 roadmap builds into NDS2 and places household food security at the center of national development.
We must go beyond that and begin to define the characteristics of a household that is upper middle income society. 62% of the population is in rural areas, just over 9 million people. They daily are aching, they are living from agriculture, largely subsistence agriculture. How do we become that vehicle that transforms what they are doing so that they too can become economic participants, so that they can feel that development is coming, is felt in the villages?
The strategy forms part of Zimbabwe's broader agriculture and food systems transformation agenda, which aims to create a $15.8 billion industry by 2030. The vision is built on 4 pillars: establishing a supportive policy and regulatory environment, investing in agricultural productivity and climate resilience, strengthening knowledge and technology systems, and improving coordination across the sector for effective planning and implementation. The program includes targeted plans to modernize agriculture, increase yields, and bolster climate resilience, critical steps towards national food security and the broader Vision 2030 goals.
We want agriculture to be the catalyst for transformation. We want agriculture to be the catalyst for transformation. The President has led in putting together a cabinet committee on rural development, realizing that this is multifaceted and requires a whole of government approach. And we will have our inaugural meeting on Wednesday.
Permanent Secretary Professor Obed Jiri says the ministry's renewed mandate clarifies how Zimbabwe will transition into a more productive, modern and competitive agricultural economy.
That the seeds we plant today in our policies, in our partnerships, in our programs will determine the harvests of tomorrow. It calls for us to work together collaboratively across all sectors and disciplines to build food systems that are not only productive but are also inclusive, sustainable and resilient in the face of climate change and other economic shocks.
The Ministry of Agriculture believes partnerships with development organizations remain central to achieving its 2026 to 2030 targets.
We are also focusing in this strategy to emphasize on rural development and rural industrialization, noting that our development of our country must be buttressed from the rural economies going up. So our rural development programs, the village business units, they take center stage in the new strategy.
Working closely with the United Nations Development Programme and the Food and Agriculture Organization, the ministry is strengthening climate-smart agriculture, One Health, and expanding community irrigation and improving resilience programming in rural areas.
Through the Green Climate Fund, the Green Climate Fund funded Climate Resilient Livelihoods Project, which is implemented in 15 districts of southern Zimbabwe and co-financed by this ministry. We have revitalized and climate-proofed 12 climate-proofed irrigation schemes with 722 hectares, promoted efficient water management on over 55,000 hectares of rain-fed farmland, established 5 value chain-based innovation platforms, and equipped over 80,000 smallholder farmers, particularly women.
With its strengthened strategy and clear focus on transformation, the ministry says the next 5 years represent a pivotal phase in securing food for every household and growing agriculture into a multi-billion-dollar industry. As the ministry sharpens its vision for 2030, it believes a modern, climate-resilient agricultural system will guarantee food on every table and drive Zimbabwe's economic growth. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Still to come on Newsplus, we have details on a 2-month-old baby that was kidnapped in Gweru Town. Stay with us.
Okay.
vanoda vhalisi itai aye, varimi vese itai aye, vanoda go itai aye, simudza go rako, kurumiza, nogona kungoti oyo, vhalisi padamoyo, manyai vana maina na baba, kurumiza, mbeu kwayo rikuvhalisisi, airowe nezvivukuto kana tsikitsi, kana zvirwere ende nokupa harvest, apa ndiri kurevesa very honest, nevhalisisi itai aye, varimi vese itai aye.
Mwaka uno tenga mbeu yako ku Valley Seeds usimudze goho rako. Valley Seeds vauchiki vembeu yechibage, yepana nePioneer, goros, ma-traditional grains nema-vegetable seeds ose anopa goho repamsorosoro. Valley Seeds, where farming meets the farmer.
Welcome wherever you are. And Marmoush, room to shoot. He well and truly did. It's an opportunity. What a shot to Sino! Scott's got to be careful. Bukayo Saka! But it's Salah, and that one delivers!
Never miss a play, home or away. Stream all Premier League games live on Showmax.
Welcome back. You are still watching Newsplus. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, indigenous poultry breeds took center stage at a Fields Day in Guruve, where the beneficiaries of the presidential poultry scheme showcased their chickens. The program, implemented under the Rural Development Strategy 8.0, is helping to empower rural communities by creating employment opportunities and strengthening food security.
Over 280,000 people have benefited from the presidential poultry scheme around the country so far. Government is however targeting about 3 million households. For one beneficiary, Philip Ruwanika, director at Effie Hill Poultry, the program is a game changer which has helped him grow his business. He has a wide range of chicken breeds that entail the Black Australorp, Buff Epitong, Rhode Island Red, and the Kuroiler. Elifil Poultry Farm has built an enterprise of 1,200 beds, which is supported by a 5,000 egg incubator and a 3,000 egg hatchery.
Asi tautogadzira mamwe breeds kuHarare, tatoona maBuff Orpington, nemaBrahma, nemaRed Island. Tiri muprocess yekubika kuti makuku nemaCroiler. Kuti vanhu vakawanda vari kudhimanda maizvo kuti vatenge tichitengesa machitoro eBlack. We are also supplying my middlemen, but not to vatenge the price really fast.
The presidential poultry program is empowering rural communities through income generation and food security. Ruwanika said that their goal is to scale up their production to 10,000 chicks per week, and they have increased their capacity to ensure that they help local farmers with affordable chicks.
We are targeting 10,000 because we've got the capacity. Because every week, every day, we pick 70 crates. Every week we pick 70 crates. So on at least 350 crates on daily basis. So we've got the capacity to expand.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Professor Obed Jiri, hailed indigenous breeds as a game changer in community resilience, nutrition, and income generation. He emphasized that these indigenous breeds, already adapted to local climates, naturally help buffer communities against climate-related challenges. He also highlighted that the nation's progress depends heavily on strengthening rural areas, and that the Rural Development 8.0 model is specifically designed to lift these communities out of poverty.
This is part of the presidential poultry program, where, of course, we encourage the production of indigenous chickens. Certainly, this is a game changer in the rural areas, where we aim to ensure that there is enough protein, local protein, and there is also business created.
The government is committed to empowering rural communities through creating programs like the Presidential Poultry Scheme, which are set to create employment and promote nutrition. For ZTM Prime, I am Mashudu Mambo in Harare.
Now, in other news, Mande Village in Rushinga is showcasing that women's empowerment and community development start in the kitchen. Through hygiene clubs and shared effort, women there have turned their kitchens into symbols of cleanliness, unity and empowerment, proving that true change begins at home. Fungai Lupande filed the following report.
They say a woman's pride is a kitchen. And for Jisine Chigwete of Mande Village in Rushinga, she proudly owns two. One is for beautiful displays, the other is for cooking on a total stove that uses less firewood, helping to conserve the forest around her home.
Kakatarisa zvikari pautano, utano hwangu hwawedzera. Ndakaenda kuhuni ndakatakura shingari huni. Ndakutakura shingari rimwe chete, ndinopedza svondo ndichibika nekuti total stove inoseva huni uye ndawe kuseva utano.
Chigwete is part of the Zvinoda Kushinga Community Health Club, a group born from a demand-led sanitation program supported by Charity Water. Chigwete says every morning she starts by cleaning the yard, the toilets and both kitchens.
Kuti munhu unofana kuva une makitchen 2 yekubikira nemoto neyaunogona kubikira negasi. Sezvo maona pamapinda mune gas stove umu mune total stove. Takadzidziswa kubika netotal stove. Takatambira program.
Through their savings and lending club, members help each other buy kitchen utensils, a symbol of hygiene, unity and pride. Now women in Mande village are competing not in wealth but in cleanliness and style. Their floors shine, their kitchens sparkle and their environment stays pristine. For years the community lived without proper water sources. Open defecation and diarrheal disease were common until they took action.
Takuda kurarama upenyu wakanaka une utano upenyu unoyemurika tichienda kumberi. Chandiri kunyanya kurudzira pazviri inyaya yekuti taona zvirwere zvaderedzeka matiri zvakanyanyisa.
The community formed sanitation action groups leading to the construction of ventilated pit latrines and a cleaner, healthier village. Ward Councillor Alderman Kanao Muropa says the area had not benefited from boreholes until President Mnangagwa's presidential scheme. Now 9 out of 12 villages have been declared open defecation free.
Vaishanda bush system. Kana panapa kana kabadza, unoona badza kugedu. Muyenza angasvika panongonzi badza iro. Kana mangonzwa zvakubatai, unofamba makadai. Mangoradza area yekuti endai kubadza rero. Dzimwe dzenguva unotofunza kuti Mwari kunochirambewa here.
The women of Mande village are proving that cleanliness, pride and unity can truly transform lives.
Now, every day, someone in the world loses a loved one. Grief counseling and support groups are becoming increasingly important in Zimbabwe, offering a sense of community and connection during these difficult times. In the next report, we give you more on how these resources are helping individuals navigate the challenges of grief and find a way forward.
Patience's life was forever changed on May 30th, 2024, when she received devastating news about the death of her 8-year-old daughter. The pain and heavy burden was like nothing she had ever felt before.
We lost Victoria. She was 8. She fell sick over a few days, and we lost her in hospital. And it plays in slow motion. When the doctor is calling you to the next room, to give you the I'm sorry news. Your whole world just crashes.
Grief is an individual experience that everyone goes through at some point in their lives. It leads to a situation where many struggle to cope during mourning, often without the right support. Patience began her healing journey through counseling from the Christian Counseling Center.
I'd like to thank the counseling sessions that I've received, that they've given me hope, and that there is hope, and that through the loss that we go through the loss that I went through, my eyes have been opened to a different world.
And Christian counseling grief support groups.
I'm currently in a WhatsApp group with mothers that have lost children, and daily, group. And so you realize that there's this community of people that walk around every day. I mean, it's not written on their faces, but in their hearts, people are grieving.
Trained counselors have been offering this support through grief counseling.
Grief counseling is assisting someone who has had a bereavement, someone who's now grieving, to deal with the grief that they will be experiencing. This process, if it is done properly, it is actually quite helpful to people who are grieving.
Helping counselees understand the stages of grief, which are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance.
There's a lot of cultural issues around grief, and so many people grieve a lot because in general people don't understand grief, because we hadn't talked about grief, we hadn't talked about death, dying, and so forth. So many people have their own assumptions about grief, and there are a lot of myths also around grief. So grief counseling actually does help a person to process their grief.
And how to navigate complex emotions of grief in the midst of cultural encouragement to be strong and not cry at funerals.
There's a lot of cultural issues around grief, and so many people grieve a lot because in general people don't understand grief, because we hadn't talked about grief, we hadn't talked about death, dying, and so forth.
In our African culture, when people come and they're offering words of encouragement at the funeral, sometimes they don't quite know what to say, and in them trying to comfort you, sometimes the words that they say actually aren't the words that you want to hear.
Patience's story is a testament to the power of support and grief counseling during the painful time of grieving. As she looks back on her journey, she's grateful for the grief counseling support she received. Wanzanai Sansole, ZTN Prime.
In our Crime Watch tonight, police in Gweru have launched a desperate search for a 2-month-old baby girl who was kidnapped by an unknown person in the city's central business district last Saturday. Reports say that the toddler was snatched from her 6-year-old sister while the mother was buying fruits from a vendor close by. Midlands Provincial Police spokesperson Inspector Emmanuel Mahoko confirmed that a manhunt has been launched.
The report added that the mother, Faith Chakaza, aged 26, had just finished breastfeeding her. She briefly left the baby on the lap of the baby's 6-year-old sister, going to buy bananas from a nearby vendor. On turning back after a few minutes, the mother discovered the elder daughter, now without the baby, saying the baby had been snatched away. Faith Chakaza shouted for help while looking around, but the baby was nowhere to be found. We appeal for any information that can help in locating the culprit and recover the baby. On the same note, we also advise mothers or persons with custody of babies and children to always keep them under close monitoring.
Police in Masvingo have arrested Angeline Zikorewondo, 28, on allegations of infanticide following the death of a newborn baby boy in Mafusiri village, Mazuru in Kutu. The suspect allegedly gave birth to a baby boy, whom she then strangled to death. She placed the body in a sack and disposed of it in a nearby bushy area. Masvingo Police Provincial Spokesperson Inspector Kudakwashidewa urged people to value the sanctity of life as a constitutional right.
I can confirm that we are investigating a case of infanticide which occurred at Mafusiri village, Chief Masuru in Kutu. The accused person, Angeline Zikorewondo, aged 28, gave birth to a baby boy on the 15th of November in a bedroom and strangled the boy. Police were informed and they attended the scene and recovered the body of the deceased, which had been thrown in the bush, which is about 30 meters away from the homestead. The accused person has since been arrested and is assisting police with investigations.
You are watching Newsplus. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
this holiday
is special family time.
Whenever you come around family, you can find love.
to go on an adventure.
Tickets to every game.
Some giggles.
And a puppy.
Let's go!
Yippee!
This holiday, simply stay connected and get all you want on DSTV, your home of entertainment.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Plus. Now, in a look at news from beyond our borders, we are starting off in South Africa, where the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Ronald Lamola, says Johannesburg's doors remain open should Washington decide to participate in the G20 Leaders Summit. Speaking at a media briefing, the minister announced that a total of 42 countries have confirmed their participation in the upcoming summit, including 20 member states, 16 guest countries, and heads of international organizations. American President Donald Trump previously called for South Africa to be thrown out of the G20, citing claims of white farmer genocide, allegations that the country has strongly denied.
We have done everything possible to encourage robust engagements to allow the negotiations to happen in an open and fair platform. Even with the US, when they raised concerns, we did our best to accommodate them, and they did come back into some of the meetings. At some point, it was indicated that they will be fully participants, and including at the Leaders Summit, that will be represented at the Vice President level. But they have now decided out of their own volition and not being pushed out of the G20 by South Africa. Our doors remain open for them if they want to participate at the leaders level of the summit, at the right level.
Over in Nigeria, one of 25 schoolgirls abducted from a school dormitory in northwestern Nigeria's Kebbi state has escaped captivity and returned home. The girls were abducted when gunmen attacked a high school in northwestern Nigeria before dawn on Monday, taking the 25 girls and killing a staff member at the school. The student who escaped fled the forest and arrived home late on Monday, hours after the kidnapping at the Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School. Another student, who was not among the 25 confirmed the abduction, also escaped in the minutes that followed this attack. Now, the United Nations Deputy Secretary Amina Mohammed has warned world leaders that food has become a weapon in various conflicts around the planet. Speaking to the UN Security Council, Mohammed said armed conflict and violence are the leading causes of food insecurity in most of the world's hunger hotspots. Last year, 295 million people faced acute hunger, 14 million more than the year before. The UN Deputy Chief denounced countries' investment in military expenditure rather than putting an end to hunger. According to UN reports, Gaza, Sudan, and Yemen are among the countries and territories with the highest levels of acute food insecurity. Now, the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification declared famine in Gaza in August and in the Sudanese cities of El Fasher and Kadugli in November. The African Union Special Envoy for Food Systems described the continent as the epicenter of global hunger. In Togo, young creatives at Aruka Studio are redefining Africa's animation scene, turning passion into economic opportunity as they produce locally inspired films and build Togo's emerging creative industry against all odds. 18-year-old Xavier Kofesi says animation has been his passion, driving it since childhood, inspired by vivid worlds of manga and Japanese anime. However, there has been noted that anime produced in Africa still trails behind international standards, especially when compared with content that's coming from Japan and other Western countries.
Je dirais, nous sommes confrontés à déjà à une main-d'œuvre, à la formation d'une main-d'œuvre qualifiée, parce que le processus par lequel nous passons aujourd'hui, c'est de recevoir chez nous au studio des étudiants Sur notre campus, on n'a pas de faculté pour former les gens à cela. Donc, on reçoit des étudiants que nous formons entre 9 mois et 2 ans avant de pouvoir les employer. Donc, ça fait déjà un premier niveau de difficulté.
When Newsplus comes back, we take a look at what's happening in the world of business.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako iyo afro chakuti ndo music manje yemuZimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti Chindevere kana mumwe mutauri muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe. Ndiwo rupawo rwako. Ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Welcome back. You're still watching Newsplus. Now, in a look at business tonight, central banks across the world are turning to gold to back their currencies to protect value and strengthen reserves. The shift has driven gold prices to record highs, creating windfalls for resource-rich nations like Zimbabwe, which are benefiting from both ends, earning more foreign currency from the rally while using gold reserves to support its currency. Deputy Minister of Mines Polite Mbamura told ZTN Prime that government policies are being strengthened to boost gold mining and exploration, ensuring Zimbabwe remains well positioned to capitalize on the global trend.
Our currency this week is backed up by gold, and we've seen an increase in gold production by both the volume and the value for the past 2 years. This year alone, we are looking forward to delivering not less than 40 tons to government. This means that by so doing, our gold reserves will strengthen up, will grow, and the ripple effect is strengthening the Z currency. So we are going forward to implement some policies that are friendly, that are attractive, that promote gold mining and gold exploration in the country.
Still with business news that have to do with mining, Zimbabwe's long-awaited minerals commodity exchange is making steady progress. The Minerals Marketing Corporation of Zimbabwe says the project has reached an advanced stage, with draft regulations already converted into law and awaiting approval from the relevant authorities. Once established, the exchange is expected to bring greater transparency and efficiency to the country's minerals trade, creating a structured platform for fair price discovery, reducing mineral leakages, and attracting both local and foreign investors.
Thank you for that question. In terms of the establishment of the commodity exchange, I think significant progress was made. The consultative processes were conducted, and the draft regulations were actually gazetted to become law. So what is we are just waiting for is the go-ahead from the relevant authorities and the principals to implement it. But otherwise, in terms of the groundwork and the rules, we are now sorted They've been gazetted, but we are just waiting the green light to proceed as far as implementation is concerned.
Cement prices in Zimbabwe have increased by 42% over the past 2 months due to an unprecedented boom in construction activity, compounded by constraints on local supply and imports. Prices have surged to about $17 from $12 per 50 kg bag, a survey held by the Herald reveals. Some industry players say the steep price hike, equating to a $5 increase per bag, is being attributed to a combination of soaring demand, the exhaustion of import quotas by some traders, and chronic production struggles at the local manufacturing plants. Still in business, the Horticultural Development Council of Zimbabwe, HDC, and Transvaal Africa recently toured the South African fresh produce market as part of efforts to strengthen Zimbabwe's horticultural exports. The tour was organized by Pasina, a leading South African company specializing in the export of agricultural produce to Asia, mainly the United Arab Emirates, UAE. The visit marked the beginning of the implementation of a memorandum of understanding signed between AMA and Pasina earlier this year. The MOU is targeted at facilitating the aggregation and export of Zimbabwean horticultural produce to international markets. And now we take a look at some entertainment news.
Dental checkups, experiments, games.
The mixture is making bubbles and the bubbles have changed color. Our balloon has been filled by carbon dioxide.
We have it all right here on Happy Sprouts. Catch us exclusively on City and Prime, DSTV channel 294. In a world where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
Now look at what's happening on the entertainment front this evening. The 2025 Zim Hip Hop Awards have unveiled the nominations for this year's edition, set to take place on December 12th at Zimbali Gardens in Greendale, Harare. Topping the nominations is Blink 4, who leads the pack with 7 nods, including Best Male, Best Collaboration, Best Album, Best Live Act, Best Hip Hop Hustle, People's Choice, and Song of the Year for his hit song Boys Rangu. Trailing closely are Volts JT and Baga, each earning 5 nominations. From Blayo, Noluntu J received 3 nominations for Best Female, Video of the Year Skellem, and Best Live Act, while Rising Star Breezer earned 2 nods in the categories Best Newcomer and Hip Hop Personality of the Year for his work with Calvi Beats. Still on the entertainment front, Senegal dominated this year's Sotogui Awards in Ouagadougou on Sunday, taking home multiple awards and cementing its status as a powerhouse in African cinema. Others, such as Cote d'Ivoire, came away with a few trophies. The 2025 Sotogui Awards also focused on broader industry issues, including discussions on sexual harassment in African cinema under the theme African Cinema Facing the Challenges of Sexual Harassment, from Indignation to Action. Here's an extract of the speech by Ibrahim Baye, who won Best Actor from the Diaspora.
africain. Il faut juste quelqu'un pour le représenter. Je tâcherai moi-même ici, et je prends en témoin tout ce public, de le remettre à l'Afrique. Ce continent, ce beau continent, qui est le nôtre, et que Dieu nous le préserve.
Now we take a look at what's happening in the world of sport.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Didn't graduate. I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play.
The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erika like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako iyo Afro chakuti ndo music manje yemuZimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so Shona kana kuti Chindevere kana mumwe mutauri muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe. Ndiwo rwako. Ndicho chidadiso chako.
Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Captain Wally J's about to take you to boot camp.
It's the riveting science and tech show that keeps you up to date with the hottest gizmos on the block and revealing the illustrious and innovative visionaries in Zimbabwe. So much to see, you'll keep swiping.
This cherry red beauty is the Dairy Auto M7 mini electric car.
They've designed our brute force incubator board.
Look at what we've got here.
Solar powered scarecrow was part of the project that I was supposed to complete.
Catch Swipe every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Get the picture?
Welcome back. Now, in our look at sports tonight, we start with breaking news that ZIFA has dismissed the PSL's proposal to suspend relegation for the 2025 season. Now, earlier today, clubs had voted to suspend relegation this season in response to the football governing body's proposal to expand the domestic top flight from the current 18 to 20 teams. As part of the transition to the 20-team league clubs had voted to suspend relegation and increase the number of teams to 22 for the next season. However, in a statement tonight, ZIFA dismissed the proposal, insisting that 4 teams will be relegated this weekend to maintain the integrity, fairness, and sporting merit of the league system. Earlier on, we spoke to Zimpepa Sports Hub's Thaddeus Manyepo, who unpacked the effect the expansion to 22 teams would have had on the league.
The decision to expand the league for the 2026 season to 22 teams, I don't think it's that proper. Number one, you also have to look at the players' physical well-being. Is it the right thing for a player to play 42 games in a single season, plus international games and also the Chibuku Super Cup games? I don't think it's the right decision. Maybe if they wanted the teams to be 20, why then they didn't decide that one of the teams Akamba and Kwekwe United. The decision to expand the league for the 2026 season to 22 teams, I don't think it's that proper. Number one, you also have to look at the players' physical well-being. Is it the right thing for a player to play 42 games in a single season, plus international games and also the Chibuku Super Cup games? I don't think it's the right decision. Maybe if they wanted the teams to be 20, why then they didn't decide that one of the teams Akamba and Kwekwe United into a relegation? I don't think taking our teams to 22 for just a single season is good. And then also look at the national Division 1. There's no plan there. So how is it going to work, especially considering the relegation matrix for next season? I think it's just controversial. Everything is just controversial.
Now, still in sport, the contingent of locally based players touched down at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport this evening, together with your head coach, Marin Marinika. Marinika believes they have a tough road ahead, but is delighted with what he has seen from the players so far and is confident that all will be in order when they take part in the AFCON finals next month.
Thank you very much to everyone that actually was, so supportive, and so many afterwards were very appreciative. Well, we have, very tough road ahead. I think we are probably around 40% where actually I want the team to be. There are lots of things we need to work on, particularly on the tactical element. Also players who probably need to shape up and, to work quite a lot on the physical element. We had a discussion after the match here. We gave them some assignments, and we hope that everyone, including the local players, we're going to be looking to include them as much as possible. Goes to gym, they do training sessions. We give them some assignment to observe the potential opponents from the three opponents, from the AJ, from Angola, and from South Africa. This way, when players are going to come very well prepared. We have a little bit different way to approach. Also, we have a little bit of, we'll have definitely Zoom meetings. We'll discuss with them a variety of things. We have stretched our network quite wider. We try to have as many potential good players to help us as possible.
The Zimbabwe Football Association has launched a women's football strategy to strengthen, professionalize and elevate the women's game in the country from 2025 to 2028. We get more in the following report.
In an effort to establish a structured development pathway for the women's game, the Zimbabwe Football Association has unveiled a women's football strategy which is anchored on 5 key pillars: growing participation, enhancing the game's image, striving for excellence, building strong foundations, and strengthening administrative structures. Football consultant Violet Jubani says the new football strategy is a critical process in the development of the game on and off the field of play.
The women's football strategy defines the situation of women football in Zimbabwe, but also clarifies on what are the steps that are going to be taken for the next 4 years in terms of developing women's football strategy. So this is very critical document, and also it's going to be a very important process that ZIFA is going to carry out in order to make sure that women's football is developing not only on the pitch but on all aspects, which include capacity building, which include recognition, which include involvement of more women in organizing.
ZIFA Vice President Loveness Mkora believes the strategy comes at the right time as it will cover a lot of issues, chief amongst them growth and development of the game in the country.
It is going to shape the general development of women football in Zimbabwe. There are critical pillars that are going to shape the women football strategy, which include creating a clear pathway for the girl child, and it is obviously going to spill down to us having a number of girls from the grassroots participating in women football issues. From under 8, from under 13s to under 17s and under 20s will be participating more in football and taking football as a career. We are also going to touch on issues to do with professionalism and governance. We are also going to touch on issues to do with talent improvement and overall performance, that is creating a high culture performance scenario for the players involved.
Running under the theme Her Game, Her Future, the women's football strategy is designed to define sports identity nationwide, ignite powerful grassroots growth, and propel women's football into greater visibility and commercial success across the country.
Also going to touch on us boosting the national team so that at least we have a working national team that gives us the results that we've always wanted. We also desire to make sure that our brand image has been improved and also the perception of women football across the nationwide has been improved, so that at least we have more partners and more sponsors coming through, partnering us in women football and shape the development agenda that we have lined up for women football in this particular strategy.
With ZIFA planning to spread the game far and wide, the strategy is expected to help expand women's football nationwide and close development gaps.
Now in cricket, Zimbabwe lost to Pakistan by 5 wickets in their T20 International Tri-Series opener in Rawalpindi, Pakistan today. Batting first, the Chevrons made 147 for 8 in their 20 overs, with Brian Bennett top scoring with 49. In reply, Pakistan cruised to 151 for 5 to win by 5 wickets with 4 balls to spare. All-rounder Mohammad Nawaz was named man of the match for his 2 wickets and unbeaten knock of 21. And with that, we conclude this evening's bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Faith Nyaude. We leave you with the weather forecast. Good evening and enjoy the rest of your viewing.